Welcome back. On September 16, 2021, 37-year-old Tristan Murphy killed himself at a state prison just west of Miami. He killed himself with a chainsaw a prison guard handed him because the correction officer had no idea Tristan was diagnosed with schizophrenia, paranoia, and delusions, and that he had a history of trying to kill himself. I learned about Tristan's death the day that it happened, and while the Florida Department of Corrections tried to hide the suicide, I found out about it anyway and began what would be a 2-year investigation into Tristan's death. Here's the trailer for my new documentary, Warehoused: The Life and Death of Tristan Murphy. When we talked before, you said you were angry at the police, you were angry at the courts, you were angry with the judges, and then you also said, and I'm also angry at Tristan.
Yeah.
Are you still angry at Tristan?
I saw the guy trying to turn on the chainsaw, grabbed it up to his neck, moved it from side to side.
He's got to be a paranoid schizophrenic.
He's engine 68.
That chopped his head off.
How could somebody who with a mental health condition be given access to a chainsaw?
What's your name?
Tristan.
Could you look at the camera?
We have created a system designed to fail, and it fails perfectly. And then we blame the poor soul who has the mental illness when we never gave them the opportunity to recover to begin with.
You could tell the judge knew that Tristan was not competent.
Mr. Murphy, I don't know if you understand what's going on here today.
How can you be so certain that the Department of Corrections didn't fail Tristan Murphy?
You're your son by the 5th in Southern Florida, or we'll draft your entire family. Mom, they're not kidding around.
I know.
Why isn't the alarm going off that this poor guy is really sick?
I noticed the vehicle was actually floating inside of the lake that's out front of the jail.
That seems like a cry for help to me. Does it to you?
Makes no sense. I mean, it is just so wrong.
The judicial system fails to the mentally ill in the United States.
Adult antisocial behavior, psychotic disorder with delusions.
So wait a minute, this guy's an inmate and he had access to a chainsaw?
They knew. There were people in that facility that knew, that should have put red flags all around him. And they didn't. Can't believe it. Should not have happened. Should not have happened. It was in his records, prior suicide attempts. Mental illness. How?
I want to take a moment to play you another segment from our hour-long special. It shows the indifference by the state prison system to address Tristan's needs. On the day Tristan Murphy killed himself, the medical staff had failed to provide him his medication for nearly a week, and as a result, he became increasingly erratic. In a series of handwritten statements taken by the Florida Department of Law Enforcement immediately after Tristan's suicide, inmates noted it was obvious to them Tristan was unstable. He was cussing and talking to himself for days. He is a paranoid schizophrenic. He stayed in my dorm and he would always talk to himself every day. And he seemed like he had problems mentally. Tried to speak with inmate Murphy shortly before incident, and he was acting very strange and angry. We are in the dorm together, and he has been very unusual. But if the inmates knew he was becoming more and more volatile, the staff seemed oblivious, and around 8 a.m., Tristan and nearly 30 other inmates were taken on a work detail.
Is that normal for the inmates to use the chainsaw?
Yes.
Like for landscape?
Yes. They always use everything. We have all kinds of tools: chainsaws, machetes, weed eaters.
These are trustees that we have that come out here.
They've been classified. Yeah, they've been classified the next level before they go out on the street so they can work.
Yeah.
So they've already been classified that they can come out here, do some landscaping.
CBS Miami obtained body camera video from the Miami-Dade police officers who were called to the prison after Tristan killed himself. The video provides the clearest understanding of what happened that morning.
Has he ever made any threats?
I don't really know the guy, that's why I asked.
Jose Rambola was the correction officer overseeing Tristan and the work detail at the tool shed.
I had two guys. I asked them, do you guys know how to use a chainsaw because they told me they had business, whatever. One guy said, yeah, I worked on trees, cutting trees. So I said, okay, well, show me you can start the chainsaw. Okay. And then maybe, you know, I'll believe you, whatever.
It was Tristan who volunteered.
He goes, he cranks it like 2 times. And then by the 3rd time, I was like, hey, get off of there. Let me see if the other guy knows. You know, because if he doesn't know how to turn it on, then I'm going to get the other guy. Right. He stood up, and I said, hey, put it down. You know, he kept cranking, he cranked it like 1 more time, got it started, revved it up, and then just put it to his neck.
The Miami-Dade officers spoke to several of the inmates who told a similar story.
Justin, can you just tell me a little bit about what you saw?
All right. We was asked to fire the saw up because me and I guess him, we do, you know, tree work and stuff.
Right.
He's over there trying to start it. I turned to this man and I said, hey, I don't, you know, want to be near him with the saw. He's like, hey, turn around, and the dude has a thing on his neck.
After he finishes, watch as the prison supervisor tries to have a private word with him.
Hey.
48?
The supervisor had earlier speculated to one of the Miami-Dade cops that Tristan may have been depressed over his love life.
Hold on, he's probably missing his girlfriend.
It's not clear what the supervisor said this time, but whatever it was, the inmate quickly shot it down.
No, he's got to be a paranoid schizophrenic.
He's engine 68.
16.
You know what I mean? Talking to himself.
What's the ID?
The supervisor quickly dismissed him, but the next inmate says the same thing.
Murphy's his name. I know because I see him in line stuff. I distance myself from him. I feel uneasy. He talks himself, pops his jaw a lot. I honestly don't know how he made it through physical stuff, but the officer didn't know that.
Now look, I realize a lot of people may not be interested or care about what happens to someone who is sent to prison. I get that. But this really is an issue that affects all of us. Mental illness is so prevalent in our society that I'm sure you know someone affected by it. Maybe a family member, a loved one, or a friend. And far too often, when a person with a mental illness encounters law enforcement, the results can be deadly. And if they land in the criminal justice system, where 1/3 of all inmates have been diagnosed with a mental illness, their condition will only worsen. And again, maybe that doesn't matter to you. But think about this. Almost all of the people with a mental illness who go into prison are one day going to come out and be back on the street. And what is going to happen to them after they are released? Don't we deserve to have them get the treatment they need? I hope you will watch my documentary, Warehouse, The Life and Death of Tristan Murphy. It premieres this Wednesday at 10 p.m. on our sister station, TV 33, and will be streaming live on CBSMiami.com.